Hey everyone, Enamour here, and today I'm going to take you behind the scenes on my track Voye, which is out now on 03. So I want to show you how I made the vocal chop, because I'm a firm believer that anything can be a sound source, no matter how strange or different from your style it is. And when I made the vocal for this song, that really came into play. So let me just play the vocal for those who aren't familiar. So that really just loops the whole song pretty much. It's that one word, and then every so often it does that little turnaround. So how this actually came to be was I was going through all the vocal samples on my computer and came across this one.
It's all for you.
Not really my style. It's not even recorded well. It's very sibilant and there's like some distortion as well. But, I played with it for a little bit and then ended up coming up with that vocal hook. So the first thing I did was reverse it. This is just a good tip. Anytime you're messing with samples, you never know what reversing it could do. It often turns it really cool.
We have lost it.
So not quite there yet. I pitched it down 8 semitones to match the key of my track. And I always use Complex Pro when I'm pitching vocals because the formant really makes a difference. So if we're at 0,
We have lost it.
so you can tell it really influences the sound. So I put it at 50 in the middle just to keep it sort of natural. And I brought the envelope down as well, which basically just is how the formant is shaped when it's reacting to the pitch.
We have lost it.
So I think 80 was a good spot.
We have lost it.
So you can already start to hear the end result a little bit. We'll first make that one-liner, just the Voye. And to do that, I added reverb, Valhalla Vintage Verb. This preset Amazing Vocal. I think I brought the low cut up a little bit and the high cut down just because it was so sibilant, and made it almost completely wet, 95%. And that got us here. And let me just fade out this other word. So that's pretty much it for that first word. Now we can do the turnaround. So because it was multiple words, I wanted it to fit well rhythmically. So if we just start moving it around with the warp markers to match the drums. It's a little too far back. Oops. I think that's good enough. There might have been some envelope, like volume automation, but that sounds pretty close. So after the warping, there was a pitch issue. So to make it more interesting and to make it fit, a different melody in the song, I brought up these other 3 words up 2 semitones, which is basically the next note in the scale. And I think I messed with the formants a little bit as well. Yeah, just a little bit lower. And now we're getting really close. Yeah, so pretty much there. Let me just walk you through the rest of the processing. So we'll leave the reverb on just because it's, really crucial to the sound. So pretty muddy and resonant in the mids. So there's first there was just compression, this LA2A from UAD, which is like an analog compressor, just to even out the volume a bit. then some EQ to get rid of that mud and resonance, and then some more EQ, similarly getting rid of mid-range and then boosting a little bit in the highs for that airiness and low cutting. And then the reverb. And the reason I did all that before the reverb is because you want to shape the sound and get the volume how you want it, and then apply the reverb. If you apply the reverb first and then apply compression and EQ, you might be affecting, you'll be bringing up the volume on the reverb tail, first of all, which could make it a lot muddier and make it not sound as spacey and more just like one loud sound. The EQ, you can do both before and after, and as you see, I did do some more mid-range cutting after the reverb. There's also LFO tool just for a little bit of sidechain, or like pumping pretty much, just to get it grooving with the song. And then some auto pan timed to the track so that it's rotating around your head consistently throughout the track. And then this filter. And the filter, as you can see with these automation lanes, is just to fade it in and then back up throughout the song to keep it interesting, and so that it's not just looping the same thing for 7 minutes, but it's kind of ebbing and flowing. And I also had an LFO on the filter, which is basically making the frequency go up and down at this rate, which I also automated. So sometimes it's like swirling more and other times it's not. So I can just show you a little example of that. So if you have headphones on, you can kind of feel how that's swirling at different speeds around your ears, and that's because the filter LFO is changing rates. The cutoff is changing, and then I have the phase set to 110, which means the left side and the right side, or the cutoffs on the left side and the right side are 110 degrees apart, rotating. So your left ear is hearing like the cutoff at 800 hertz, and your right ear is hearing it at 2000 hertz, for example. That's just like an example. It's probably not the exact numbers. So that is the whole sound, really. Simple loop, manipulated a little bit, and then chopped up to keep it interesting by alternating the patterns. So just making different phrases out of it like that. So I hope you learned something from this, and I urge you all to be open-minded and creative with the samples you use, and don't just write things off because they don't sound like they could fit your song. You know, sometimes it's worth spending 5 or 10 minutes to seeing if you can manipulate it and make it something special and unique. And for that way, not only will no one know that it's a sample because it sounds nothing like it, but it's just, you can stumble on these really happy accidents. That being said, don't spend like an hour trying to polish something into something better, because sometimes that's just a waste of time and you're not going to get it there. So there is a balance, but I trust you'll figure that out. So definitely check out the track. It's out now on 03, and for all you DJs, it absolutely destroys in the club, I promise. Follow me on social media to get more behind the scenes tips like this. And until next time, see you later.